Good morning and welcome to Sports and Shorts Tailgate Edition on 92.9 KVRE, streaming online worldwide at kvre.com and on iHeartRadio. Alongside Tracy Simpson, I'm Mark Oliver. Tracy, how was your spring break this week?
Oh boy, I tell you what, activities, and you know as well as I do, it's all about activities, and we had plenty of them. How about you?
That told me absolutely nothing.
I'm pleading the fifth. Okay, Mark?
When you read
tell it all.
Reading between the lines, when Tracy Simpson gives you a non-answer, it's because the statute of limitations has not passed yet. Family and I got a chance to travel to Dallas and Arlington, and we got a chance to go to Six Flags and see the Fort Worth Zoo. My wife Hannah shopped till she dropped. And of course, in the month of March and April, within a 30-day window, all five of us in the house, myself, my wife, and my three boys, we all have birthdays within the same 30-day period. And, well, we're usually broke by the time middle of April comes around.
Doesn't take much.
No. So, we just combine everything into this trip. And, hey, this is the trip. This is the birthday trip for everybody. We had a really, really good time. What is this that you're showing me here? This is a snow globe from the Fort Worth Zoo. People are already starting to turn us off because we are so alike, whether it's our March Madness prediction, we hid it from each other and said, you know what, we're going to have this big reveal on the show and look how different we're going to be. Oh, we both picked Florida.
Yeah.
So let's begin with March Madness. And let's begin with the biggest story. Of course, we're recording. Today is Friday, one day before the show airs on Saturday. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. The Arkansas Razorbacks NCAA tournament run came to a shocking and maybe heartbreaking end Thursday night. They fall 85-83 in overtime to the Texas Tech Red Raiders, played at the Chase Center in San Francisco. I watched every single second of this game, including the dominant start that Arkansas had, double-digit lead. The Razorbacks were in control for most of this game, and they had standout performances. Nelly Davis and Carter Knox combined for 50 points total. But when it came down to it, late in the game, you started seeing the wear and tear on this team and an excellent tournament run. And I'm the first to admit, let's go back to last week's show. How many games did I have Arkansas winning in this tournament? 0. You only had them winning 1.
I had them winning 1.
And sometimes it's okay to be wrong. That's what I've learned when it comes to March Madness. We'll talk about the bracket in full here in a moment. Boy, were we wrong. But to be fair, everyone was wrong, so I feel a little bit better about it. But, the game gets to overtime, and you can really tell once it got to overtime, the fact that Texas Tech was able to erase a 16-point deficit down the stretch. I mean, for all intents and purposes, the Red Raiders were dead to rights in this ball game, but rebounding got them back into it. And there was one possession in particular where Texas Tech secured 6 offensive rebounds in a row.
Down in the block.
And then finished with a score. Mm-hmm. I was like, there's no gas left in the tank for this Arkansas team. Texas Tech forces overtime, and sure, Arkansas's got a chance. And hey, it came down to literally the final shot at the buzzer. Hats off to Arkansas. The run is over in the Sweet 16. I don't know that many actually realistically had them getting to this point, but what a year it was. They started SEC play 0-5. And they were starting to question, okay, is Calipari the guy? Is this experiment going to work, or is this going to be a massive fail? He really left Kentucky for this? Yeah, he did. And he said after the game that despite the loss, it's still the one season in his career, his historic career, that he's most proud of. They had a stat on the broadcast at halftime that said when he's up by double digits at the half, he's 35-0 in NCAA tournament games. Well, now he's 35-1. But I don't know that you can be super upset with this team. Texas Tech was a very good team. They were a number 3 seed for a reason. And I don't think there's anything really to hang your head at, because no matter who it was in this series, whether it was beating Kansas, who was preseason ranked number 1 in all of college basketball, or beating a very good number 2 seed in St. John's, or taking Texas Tech, a number 3 seed, to overtime. I mean, one went away from the Elite 8. I think that this season overall was a success.
In any other anybody else says different, I don't understand their reasoning, to be honest with you. Yeah, I believe they went above and beyond expectations by not only the fan base, but also I think by their own selves too, because they were just so out of sync early on, and even before in conference play, you could really tell it. But then again, you go back and you think, well, wait a minute, SEC, the football conference, remember?
Yeah.
Okay, but now all of a sudden it's the number one basketball conference. In 0-5, those games some of them were pretty close, if you recall. They only got blown out a couple of times, that South Carolina fluke or whatever the case is, but they were in all those games, and now we're coming down to the Elite Eight, which, hey, SEC is pretty well represented.
Pretty well represented. And of course, I know that your pick has not changed. My finals and my Final Four as of this recording is still intact, even though pretty much nothing else is. But I mean, here's the deal. And I almost debated not even making this statement, but here's the deal. Arkansas wins. Texas Tech wins. They've got Florida tonight,
there you go.
Saturday night. They got Florida. Is anybody realistically getting past the Gators, whether it's Arkansas, Texas Tech, or anybody else left in the field?
Well, if Duke didn't play any better than what they played against Arizona, I got news for you.
Hey, that was a close game.
And I got news for you. Now, Houston, on the other hand, just going to tell you right now, this ought to be an interesting matchup the next couple of games, Mark. I'll be honest with you. This is above and beyond. I was watching some of the commentators from, some of the guys that know everything, right? And they were talking about, these are young men making millions right now, literally making millions with the NIL. Okay?
Yeah.
But some of those teams look like a pro team. Look at Duke on the average. They average 6-7, starting lineup. That's a professional team. And then when you got Alabama shooting 51 threes.
And making 25 of them.
That's what
a record.
That's what the pro teams do every night. Now,
I told you last week they're the bad boys of the South. I meant it.
That's what
I meant it.
I said that they were going to. I agree with you. They're going to three-pit ball to death, and when they get down low, they're going to punk on you.
Now, I'll tell you this much right now. The Florida naysayers are screaming at the radios right now. Florida only beat UConn by 2 points, Mark. Your opinion is trash. Listen, UConn is back-to-back champions, and they have one of the best coaches in the game, period. Yes, that was a close game. A 77-75 win for Florida. I don't know that Florida is going to be challenged the rest of the way unless it's maybe my finals prediction, which I still have as Florida versus Alabama. But, I mean, who knows? I mean, how wrong were we when we recorded this thing? We recorded this thing, I think it was last Thursday, right before all the first games started. I don't know what your worst take of March Madness was, but I know what mine was because you texted me almost immediately after leaving the studio after we put the show on ice. He said, you watching Creighton, Louisville? Louisville, the Cardinals. Your dark horse, the sleeper in the tournament. They're going to beat Auburn in Kentucky. It's a home game.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
They lost in literally the first game of March Madness. My bracket was busted. And boy, it got busted good. Hey, but my Final Four is still intact. I still think Florida is the best to win it all. High respect to Duke and Houston as well. I'm still not big on Auburn. I know they're still alive as of this recording, but we'll see. We'll see. What do you think was your worst take of your bracket?
Well,
who did you back that let you down?
Well, you know what? I don't think they let me down, but my expectations were a little. I thought Colorado State was going to, and of course,
got a big win.
They got the big win, but then they came back, and once again, a lot of fouls. This is going to be on record that one of the biggest tournaments where the most fouls were called. They're already talking about that right now, and we're not completely out of the Elite Eight. We're not. Okay, they're talking about the most fouls ever called in a tournament, and we just now got to the Elite Eight. What is going on?
Well,
okay,
I mean, and unfortunately, I knew that we were going to get to this topic, but I mean, look at last night's game. Look at the Arkansas-Texas Tech game. Look at the foul calls, and in my opinion, the lack of foul calls.
Thank you.
Very physical. They let him play. There were some moments down low. I mean, you can even make an argument on the final shot of the game in overtime.
He hacked him.
They blew the call.
He hacked him. Everybody saw it.
How about NCAA staff? This isn't just your high school mom and pop volunteer working game day operations at the scorer's table. NCAA trained and certified staff not remembering to turn on the game clock.
in providing an extra timeout
for a team that didn't have one.
Yes. You think, hello.
In a lengthy stoppage of play.
2.5 minutes.
At that.
Timeout.
And going into that final drive, that very final play where Arkansas comes up empty, Calipari's got a timeout. You think he's going to call a timeout and give Texas Tech a chance to set up on defense?
No, not at all.
I saw the inbounds happening, and I said, okay, he's going to call timeout once they get across into the front court. And he didn't. And I was like, wait a second. Of course he's not going to. This is it. They had a good shot at the buzzer, just didn't go in, and your season's over because of it.
12-footer. Yeah, but once again, he acted there. Mark, and I'm asking you, I've asked a lot of folks already, but was that goaltending? He hit the ball before it hit the backboard?
No.
That was not goaltending.
No.
It showed
absolutely not.
It showed the ball being tipped before it hit the backboard. That's a block.
Hit the backboard, though. I believe it hit the backboard before it was tipped. We got a really good angle on it. I say no. You say yes. Hey, we finally disagree on something for once.
There's just so many, and we're getting a lot of flack from other folks and stuff like that about the games being called. But when, like you were talking, I'm going to give credit where credit's due. Yes, the coach from UConn is one of the best around, okay?
Yeah.
But he's even given wisecracks on the refereeing.
He did, and it was meant to be, air quotes, locker room talk. He made a very derogatory comment toward the officiating staff. It was caught on camera because everything is in 2025, and it really blew up negatively for him because, it really... yes, it ended their run at a three-peat. I don't know that anybody realistically had them beating this pool this year, but they're still a good team. They took Florida within 2 points. I think it's worth mentioning, but unfortunately, that comment that he made about the officiating became the story.
That was the storyline. That's what
rather
was so
than
sad.
the end of what was really maybe the only current real college basketball dynasty.
And that's what was sad about that thing. I mean, we've been in the media a long time, but there's a time and place for everything, and why that had to come out when the real story was about these young men. A season and trying to get through, and then they finally lose, and the seniors on that team and some of the one and dones, their time is over.
Tracy, my Facebook Messenger inbox was blowing up this past week because thanks to our listeners who listen to the show. I know that they listen to the show because they knew my hot take on Arkansas not winning a single game in the tournament, and they tuned in droves in my personal inbox to let me know how wrong I was. My response is thanks for listening.
Well,
I appreciate it.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And, like I said, it's okay to be wrong sometimes. It is okay to be wrong. And I was glad I was wrong.
Yeah, well, they had a good year, and they've got something to build on, I believe. So now baseball.
We've got a lot to talk about, and we are going to talk about some baseball here in just a moment. We need a sip of water. We need to adjust our shorts. I don't know. Sport. Are you wearing shorts? I'm wearing shorts. Sports is shorts, baby.
Sports is shorts.
We're back in a moment right here on 92.9 KVRE.
Second quarter coming up.
Quarter number 2, Sports and Shorts Tailgate Edition, 92.9 KVRE, and online at kvre.com. He's Tracy Simpson. I'm Mark Oliver. Tracy, I don't know if you noticed what I'm wearing today, but I'm dressed head to toe in my favorite team's attire because a new year means new possibilities. And yes, I do know that my favorite sports team set a record last year to being the absolute worst team ever in the history of that sport. Let me tell you something else about Mark Oliver that you may not know. The fans may not know this, but it takes real skill to be me and to love who I love. I'm a Chicago White Sox fan, die hard. Had a chance to see him win the World Series in 2005. It may never happen again, but I got to see it once. On the NFL side, my favorite team is the Chicago Bears, one of the worst teams in the NFL, but hey, up and up this year. Maybe, just maybe. We'll see what the draft does. On the NBA side, my favorite team is the Utah Jazz. Why? Why the Utah Jazz? Don't worry about it. Listen, the Utah Jazz currently is the worst team in the NBA. The absolute worst team in the NBA. It takes real skill to have your favorite team in the 3 professional major sports literally be the worst team in all 3 of those major sports. But here we are, and it's a new year because opening day was Thursday, my friend, and the Chicago White Sox are 1-0. Now, what happens from here? I don't know. Are they going to make the playoffs? No. Are they going to set very low expectations this year and not do anything. I don't even know most of the opening day roster of my own favorite team. I know like 6 guys on the opening day roster. But hey, we beat the Angels. We're 1-0. Baseball is back, baby.
Yeah, well, they only got to win 10 more before they tie their record from last year.
Come
okay?
on.
Okay.
Come on. Give me one day.
You got to be positive. At least they weren't the bottom of the barrel. Miami was, they only won 10 last year, okay? So let's be positive about that. I saw that this morning. Was it 10-2, 8-2?
It was 8-1.
8-1, something. Okay. After 4, I quit counting because I don't think they can either.
And a pitcher that literally pitched less than 20 innings in his whole career got the opening day start and the win. Cool story. He might get a contract extension for that. I don't know.
Or just get to stay in Chicago.
Give him like a Whataburger gift card.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking. Or better yet, some Wrigley chewing gum. Oh, snap.
Never.
Oh, snap.
But MLB is back. 2025 is upon us. It's opening day weekend, and no matter which team that you're rooting for, best of luck to your squad. Unless it's the Los Angeles Dodgers, because that is the team to beat this year. I think if you think any different than that, then you're not paying attention to Major League Baseball, the team with the biggest payroll, the defending World Series champions. It's LA's title to defend. It's LA's title to lose this year. I'm not even asking for your opinion on that because I really don't care. It's the Dodgers' title to lose this year. However, which teams are going to step up and make the playoffs this year and challenge LA for MLB supremacy? Your thoughts on the American League first this year. Which teams interest you? It's a long season, and as a preface, as a disclaimer, we all know that the MLB season comes down to 2 things. Who is hot in September, even if they weren't good the rest of the season, and obviously, and most importantly, who is healthy.
I'm gonna stick with my Orioles. I mean, you with your teams and stuff.
You can't even say their name.
I didn't want to bash them anymore than what they are. But as it is, I was a big Brooks Robinson fan, of course.
Of course,
I was number 5 growing up and everything, and played third base, and they went through their years too. I mean, seriously. Now they're back. They get a W yesterday. They even it was pretty neat to watch O'Neill 6 years running. Hits 6 home runs.
That's right. That's right. The opening day home run streak continues.
Right. Continues. So they're 1-0, okay, as it is right now. Now, we've got some teams that didn't play yesterday, of course, and so yet my Rangers went down, but that's nothing new. But as it is right now, I think, and I guess you're right, Dodgers being 3-0 now, if you want to.
I mean, it's true. It's true. They're 3-0.
The Cubbies, anyway, but that was more of a PR
it was in Japan.
PR hype.
It was in Japan.
And the
Cubs had no chance.
How did they not hit more home runs over there? The field's only 340 feet, something like that. It's small fields, but anyway, because they had to make more room for more fans. You know that? They had 42,000 people there.
Yeah, because Shohei Ohtani could very well be the greatest baseball player of all time, and we're literally watching it in front of us in 2025.
He showed that yesterday also, by the way. But as it is right now, this could be the year with the new rules, and I'm saying because all the ones that were put in last year, Mark, it could be a different game this year because I guess they got acclimated to the new rules last year because we saw so many times the pitchers and the hitters time up. The clock wasn't, it was a big issue last year. And I don't think it was necessarily the bigger bases. I don't think that made a big deal because the same guys that did the base runnings, the same guys that stole all the bases, well, they're the same guys that did it again. So I don't think that was the biggest issue. I think the time is going to be relevant this year. Not as much as last year. I think they're getting acclimated to it. But I think that right there, it shows that, and I'm going to ask you this question too, was that the right choice for the time frame on that? Do they have the right amount of time allotted for pitching and for hitting?
I don't know. I think it's a rule that they're kind of adjusting on the fly.
Right.
They try a lot of things in the minor league level, and there's some really good changes that currently exist in the minor league level. The challenging system for pitches is I think going to revolutionize the game. And I know it takes away some of the human element of the game, but I mean, as we just talked about on the basketball side, sometimes accuracy trumps humanity. Boy, did I just make an argument for like robotics? Is this the beginning of Terminator? I don't know.
I do not know, Mark. Does it?
But what I do know is that the Los Angeles Dodgers, the best team in baseball, got better in the offseason. And they got healthier in the offseason because Shohei Ohtani is going to be back on the mound at some point this year. He had record-breaking numbers at the plate. Sometimes you forget he's also a pitcher and a really good one at that. They also reeled in two-time Cy Young winner Blake Snell and Japanese phenomenon Roki Sasaki to a rotation that also is going to have Ohtani. But I will say this, there is always a chance because there has not been a repeat champion in the MLB since the Yankees did it from 1998 to 2000. So since the year 2000, there has not been back-to-back champions in the MLB. Who's the best team that challenged Dodgers for their supremacy this year? I think it might be the team that beat your Texas Rangers on Thursday, the Boston Red Sox.
Red Sox. Mm-hmm.
I'm hot on the Boston Red Sox this year because I feel like this is a team that had three major needs going into the offseason. They needed frontline pitching, they needed an established right-handed hitter, and they needed to go get a good lefty pitcher as well. They got Garrett Crochet from the White Sox, big lefty on the trade market. They get Walker Buehler, who literally threw the last pitch for the Dodgers in last year's World Series, and they got a huge infielder that, I mean, he was a former Houston Astros, so I don't know how much I love him. But Alex Bregman is a big deal. He's a two-time All-Star. Their rotation is better. Their defense is better. Their lineup has more balance to it now. This is a team in a very stacked AL East with the likes of the Orioles, the Yankees, who were in the World Series last year, and even the up-and-coming Blue Jays, that I think there's going to be a lot of postseason play coming out of this division, the AL East. I have the Red Sox trumping everyone in the AL. And that includes my pick for the AL Central, the Detroit Tigers, my pick for the AL West, the Seattle Mariners, and even a big...
Wait a minute. Stop. Did you just say the Mariners?
I did. Roll this tape back in September. Clip it. Come back in September and tell me how wrong I am.
How many are they bringing up from the Travelers?
They've got a young man by the name of Logan Gilbert, who was a former Arkansas Traveler. His bobblehead sits on my desk at NPC, and he's my pick for the AL Cy Young this year. That is how all in I am on the Trident this year. Rise up. This is the Mariners' time to make the postseason and probably be eliminated in the first round. But they'll get there. Mark my words. And I also think another team that's going to get there that has been kind of hiding in the shadows a little bit, maybe a dark horse candidate, the Kansas City Royals, also joining the ranks of who I have in the wild card as the Yankees and your Baltimore Orioles.
You're leaving Detroit completely?
No, I have them winning the division.
But I mean going to the... You're sticking with Boston.
I'm sticking with Boston to represent the AL in the World Series.
Okay. I'm going to stick with my Orioles, but I'm looking over on the other side. And I just don't see. I'm going with Atlanta. I think there's going to be some work to do because
decent pick.
Some egos are going to get brushed in Dodgersville, and I think some egos are. Yeah, I think Atlanta's resolved and picked up some new pitching this year.
Well, I mean, they have Chris Sale, which I think is a very big deal. You know, former Chicago White Sox player, but he's coming off of one of the best seasons of his career, and this is an injury-riddled career, and you don't see this happen very often. A pitcher start off very, very strong, do great things, and then he's injured, and then he's dealt, and he's older in age in regards to pitchers, and he's roaring back in his career and having this second chance, this resurgence, this Justin Verlander-esque revitalization of his career, and he's a true asset for an organization, not just, well, he's a veteran leader guy. He'll be a good leader in the clubhouse on the bench. No, he's out there making moves, making plays, winning games, and absolutely the Atlanta Braves are a big contender in the National League. They get Spencer Strider back from injury. Ronald Acuna Jr. is going to be back from injury. This is a team that made the playoffs last year and did very, very well. I don't even know you could call them a 60% health last year. This was an injury-riddled Atlanta Braves team who, when the postseason arrives this year, will be fully healthy, we suspect, and could challenge some of the top dogs in the National League, like your Philadelphia Phillies, like the Atlanta Dodgers, and maybe even the New York Mets. Even though Juan Soto kind of blew it in his Mets debut, they're pretty stacked top to bottom as well, and I think that they're going to be a contender for the postseason in that big NL East. The East is the best. Whether it's the AL, the NL, I think those are your biggest contenders coming out of those divisions.
No doubt. And I'm going to agree with you on a few of them, but I'm going to tell you right now, the issues right now are still egos. And I hate to say it, but some of the staff, like you were talking about with the pitching right now, and the Yankees right now, they reloaded once again. And I know they did a little bit of trading in the off season.
Losing Garrett Cole before the season starts hurts.
That was okay.
It hurts.
That's what I'm talking about.
Losing your ace, it hurts.
So what are you going to do? And right now as it is, they can't pull anybody up. So that's going to be a biggie. But I'm confident with and he's not going to be just sitting on the bench. You're right, down in Atlanta. He's going to come out and get some W's, and he's going to contribute to the whole team effort. And once he gets in the rotation and shows everybody what it's all about, the old man will come through.
So your World Series prediction is Baltimore and who?
Atlanta.
Baltimore and Atlanta. Who wins it?
Baltimore.
Got to be your Orioles, right?
I've
got the Dodgers over the Red Sox. We've got a pretty different matchup here. Literally 4 different teams. Be interesting to see who comes up on top in October. We'll be following MLB all season long. Don't you worry here on Sports and Shorts Tailgate Edition. And please text us who you think is going to win the World Series this year. 501-915-1300. And if you want to make sure that I know every single time the White Sox lose a game, if you're that dedicated this year, bring it.
Well, they will. Third quarter coming up.
And we're back, Sports and Shorts Tailgate Edition on 92.9 KVRE, streaming online at kvre.com and on iHeartRadio. He's Tracy Simpson. I'm Mark Oliver. Tracy, I know you're really excited for Saturday. It's a big deal going down right here in our own backyard in Hot Springs. The Arkansas Derby is here. For locals in the Hot Springs community and the surrounding area, it is also known as Stay Away from Central Avenue Day.
That's exactly right.
For all sorts of fans for the sport, whether they're new fans, longtime fans, they just want to see one of the biggest tournaments, the biggest races, the biggest moments in this sport right here in Central Arkansas. They'll be turning in droves with fancy hats and very awesome suits and the attire and all the traditions. What is it that excites you the most about Derby Day?
The athletes, the horses. It's not all about wagering. It never has been in my book. But yeah, and of course we're people watchers. Anytime you go to a big sporting event, you're going to watch other people's, the crowd, the fans, and the reactions, and see old friends. And it's the Super Bowl. It's the big playoff game, so to speak, or whatever. And when you got 60 to 70,000 people in one area, you're going to have all kinds of activities and congregations. But it's fun. This will be my 54th Arkansas Derby. I haven't missed one in 54 years.
That's huge.
And so, and over the course of the years, I've seen it change so much. I was just recalling on my show earlier this week about the first, what they called the Racing Festival of the South. And they did away with that for a while. And now they've sort of brought it back as nostalgia, so to speak. But I remember when the Arkansas Derby was $100,000. $100,000 in 1972.
Wow.
And now it's $1.5 million. Okay, so that's a big to do. But in Arkansas, it's something for everybody, whether you're a horse fan or not, whether you're an Oaklawn fan or not. If you're a people person, it's a place to be. And a family man like you or whatever, you can get lost out on the infield and have a lot of fun with it, something for the kids.
Yeah, and one of the things that I love as well, you mentioned, you throw out all these dollar amounts, and of course there's going to be gambling. It's going to be a jam-packed crowd. You're probably going to have to pay for parking if you don't want to walk like 5 miles to Oaklawn. But the other thing that I really enjoy about Oaklawn is that you can walk in for free. Mm-hmm. You can walk in and sightsee and people watch and enjoy the show. You don't have to gamble at all, especially if you bring kids. You don't have to pay a dime to go and be part of this experience. And of course, the people watching element. I mean, Hot Springs not only is a tourist destination, but every once in a while, you'll hear stories about, guess which celebrity's in town? Oh my gosh, I've got to go see him. I've got to go see her. What? They're here? Really? Mm-hmm. I have a very close friend of ours in the family works at Oaklawn and runs into celebrities, famous celebrities, all the time and gets the chance to meet them. Of course, they've got to be professional and they can't ask for autographs and things like that. But getting the chance to meet people, meet famous people, once in a lifetime opportunities, they're going to be there at Derby Day because that's how big of a deal this is. Of course, NBC Sports is going to be there. CNBC is going to be there. Peacock's going to stream this. FanDuel TV is going to stream this. I mean, everybody who's anybody is going to be there at this. There's going to be great food, great activities, great music, great traditions. Just going and seeing what everybody's wearing, for one, is a really cool tradition as well. And we've talked about all the fun elements of Derby Day. We haven't even talked about the field yet, the contenders yet, looking for that 1 million plus prize pool.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And you've got some of the greatest stories, too, behind the scenes with some locals like you were talking about. And this is going to be one of the years where I think one of those Cinderella stories, baby, because it really is. You're talking about a trainer that has essentially worked at a farm, at a thoroughbred farm, almost his whole career, and out of nowhere decides, well, I'm going to go out on my own a little bit, and goes and talks to the owner of the farm, and they say, okay, we're going to back you. He's 70 years old. And he says, well, I think I'm going to decide to train. And they backed him, and he went and bought his own horses and everything. And sure enough, now all of a sudden he's got one that wins 5 in a row and is in the Arkansas Derby, ready to go run at the Kentucky Derby. And now he's 72 years old. Never say never is what I'm saying. And then last year with the likes of, Dan, local contacts, Mystic Dan winning the Kentucky Derby. Unbelievable. So you never know. It's a sport, they say, of kings, but I'm gonna tell you what, I've seen a lot of paupers out there too, and it's fun being in the. We have a thoroughbred farm, and being a part of it, it's just something special. Those horses are athletes. They give it their best every day. They don't come out and say, I don't feel like dribbling the ball. I don't feel like not catching the ball. Oh, did he just say something to me? You don't get nothing back like that. They get out there and they give it their all every time. I've literally seen some of my horses just chomping at the bit, no pun intended, to get out of the stall and ready to get out there. And that's what's exciting. And it's a good sport that a lot of folks can get involved. You don't have to wager anything, but like you said, get out there and have some great food. I love the Oompa Loompa band that's always out there, and it's if you're into gatherings, if you're into sports, it's something for everybody out there.
It's the 89th Arkansas Derby. Of course, we talked about it. It's one of the premier prep races for the Kentucky Derby, and it's very influential on the Triple Crown Trail this century, talking about many, many big name horses that have had, ties to Oaklawn, whether it's American Pharoah or Mystic Dan, like you talked about. Cole Battle is a big name as well here in recent years. That is, sure to put on a show as well. But Tracy, give some advice maybe to that first-time family, that first-time group that you said you've been to 54 of these. What advice would you give to somebody wanting to attend their first ever Arkansas Derby? Maybe they're from Hot Springs, or maybe they're driving in from somewhere else.
No, Mark, like you were talking about, though, first things first, you're going to have to deal with the traffic. There's no doubt.
Oh, yes.
The gates open at 10 o'clock. The first race is at 11:20. All right. Standard, it's usually around 12:35, but 14 races. So you want to get there early. Now, as a family, parking is at a premier, like you were talking about. And so you're going to have to walk a little bit. So make sure that you got good walking shoes on, tennis shoes. Don't wear no stiff soles or anything like that. And if you got kids, make sure you're bringing, they will let you in with, especially with younger kids and stuff like that, with snacks and stuff. But be prepared is what I'm telling you, because it is a long haul. It is all day long. And of course, you can leave at any time, but just make sure that you wear something comfortable. That is one of the biggest tips I can give you right now, because you talk about walking plus sitting down. I've been fortunate enough to have a box on, for a long, long time. But even then, sitting down and finding you a comfortable spot, the infield's going to be open. Bring you a light blanket if that's what you prefer. The weather is a little dicey, but I think it's going to be okay this afternoon. Another thing too, though, is that don't bring what you can't spend. That is my biggest advice.
That's good advice.
know what your pocketbook limits are, okay? And that's the biggest deal there, because you're going to spend some money, whether it's on, food or beverage or whatever, or if you like wagers on. Have a set price. Have a set. Say, this is what I'm going to this. This is the same as going to a football game or anything else. And you know what Cokes cost at a football or baseball game?
Sure.
Or popcorn. Have a set limit, and that is what you're going to spend. And then have that. And then have a good time, Now, then another biggie, charge your phones up before you get there.
Mm-hmm.
Charge your phones up. There are charging stations, I'm telling you, but the lines at them on Derby Day, are long. It's almost like going to the bathroom long.
And of course, all the people that are going to be there, thousands of people are going to be there. And of course, everybody's going to be on their phone at the same time on social media or whatever. And it's draining. Things are going to be slow. Your battery's going to drain faster. It's going to be a bright, sunny, beautiful day.
Yep, there you go. Sun always shines at Oaklawn Park.
That's right. That's right.
So that's the caption anyway. But that's the biggest thing. Know what you're going to spend. Don't know your budget, so to speak, and wear comfortable clothes. I'm telling you that right now. But and have fun with it. Like I said, enjoy the athlete. Watch these horses, and if you can get out on the infield, that's one of the best places to be. You can get close to where you can actually see, smell, hear, and that's what got me when I was a kid. Growing up on a horse farm and just being able to get out there and not necessarily get it in your hands, but just the smell of being around the horses and stuff is something special. And the bell ringing when when they take off and stuff, it's pretty cool, the excitement of it. And that's what captured me. Now I've been in the business quite some time. Got a few running out there right now, and and I look forward to going out there every day. That's part of it. But as a family, it's fun to go out on the infield. I encourage anybody, but get there early. Get there early and wear comfortable clothes and know your budget.
Yeah, love all those tips. The Arkansas Derby being held later today. If you're listening right now and you're thinking about going,
you can go.
Turn us on in the car. It's time to go. Yeah, it's time to go right now.
And you can go to my website, TracyTrackTalk.com, and get your picks from there. TracyTrackTalk.com, and you can pull it up and you'll get all my picks from right there. You'll see and plus I give some extra stuff too. Long shots, best bets, daily doubles, exactas, and doing a pretty good job this year. Running at about a 38% win clip right now. So not too bad. So, but main essence, have a good time. That's the way with anything. Take somebody with you, take the kids.
Yeah, absolutely. Make memories that will last a lifetime. We've got much more to come on Sports and Shorts Tailgate Edition. We'll be back in just a moment right here on 92.9 KVRE.
Fourth quarter coming up.
And we're back, Sports and Shorts Tailgate Edition right here on 92.9 KVRE, streaming online at kvre.com. We're also on iHeartRadio these days. Check us out. He's Tracy Simpson. I'm Mark Oliver. Tracy, we begin the fourth quarter of this segment with maybe a little bit of a somber note. The sporting world lost a huge legend earlier this month in March. Two-time heavyweight champion George Foreman passed away at the age of 76. In more recent years, you might know him for TV appearances and, of course, the infamous George Foreman grill. But before he was helping you make your food better in the kitchen, this guy was a top-notch fighter in the ring, facing off against some of the biggest names in boxing, having some of the biggest stories, the biggest moment in the sport altogether. I know one of the biggest moments may be his fight, the Rumble in the Jungle against Muhammad Ali, and losing his title to Muhammad Ali. But maybe even more precious and more exciting from that moment where he was knocked off of his pedestal was the way that he rallied back literally 2 decades later, 20 years later, to get his title back as the oldest heavyweight champion to ever do it. I mean, we're talking about a legendary career, and down goes Frazier. Down goes Frazier. Taking out Joe Frazier in that heavyweight championship title fight. Just an impressive career for George Foreman. Gone too soon at the age of 76.
And I think about that because I actually watched, this was long before pay-per-view, okay? Obviously. And they actually aired these, on regular TV, and it was a big to-do. It was a huge to-do. People stayed up depending on, like you said, the Rumble in the Jungle. Because I remember it was on at 10 o'clock, and I was like, oh, I get to stay up and watch that. And I was like, oh my goodness.
Oh yes.
And I was like, and I didn't know if I was going to get to. It was almost like Monday Night Football back in the day. I would have to go to bed at halftime, and I'd sneak around out of bed and come up the hallway and look around the corner. They knew I was there, but it was just the essence of it. Well, this was one of those situations where by the 7th round, when the knockout, I was like, I was getting tired anyway, but still it was something to do, and I can remember it like it was yesterday. And you know, it's so inviting, especially when you have a person like George. And what's his kids' names? Remember?
He has 5 sons, and they are all George Edward Foreman. All 5 of them.
All 5 of them.
Talking about a legendary career. What a legacy there. George Foreman, the first, George Foreman Sr. has passed, but George Foreman continues to live on for, we're talking about literally at least another 100 years.
So how do you deal with that at Thanksgiving and Christmas? But anyway, that's a whole nother story.
George, yes.
But, yes.
The whole house, yes.
But,
which one?
But he was a character, though. And I remember seeing him on late night, shows and TV shows and stuff. He was a little bit of a rascallion, wasn't he? And so, quite the personality, I should say. And, and I remember, the commentaries and stuff like that. And he took life on the chin, so to speak. And you would think somebody of that nature, but the Foreman Grills, and being from Houston and such, he was larger than life. And in Texas, he's, of course, obviously a hero down there, but it's something special, and he's going to be missed. I guess I'll have to, break out the old Foreman Grill and get me a burger going or something. Just in his honor.
If you can find one, because for sports show preparation purposes, this week I went on a mission. Can I find George Foreman Grill? I went to my big box store. Can I don't technically need one right now, but I was just curious. Okay, he passes away. Can I go find one on the shelf? I could not.
Oh, you can still get them online though, and I've got one.
And they'll be back, but that's the kind of legacy there.
You think that everybody went out to get one?
Oh, yeah, absolutely, they did, because the shelves were empty.
Wow, I didn't even know they had the product. I thought it was all online now.
Yeah,
but they had product in the store.
Yeah, you can get them in the store. But yeah, none on the shelves. So a great legacy. That big fight against Michael Moorer. The defending champion. He comes back as I believe it was 1994.
Yeah.
He comes back. He's the oldest heavyweight fighter. What's this guy still doing? It's been 20 years since the Rumble in the Jungle. He doesn't still have it. Oh, yes, he did. Now, it may have taken, I believe it was round 10 of that fight where he really started to turn the tables on there, came back late, able to win that heavyweight title. But, that's George Foreman. Down, but never out until the final bell, until the fat lady sings, as they say. And
he was a big man too.
He was a big man, but he had like a baby face.
Oh,
he didn't look like this fierce killer in the ring, and I think that worked to his advantage too, because he looked like this, just like sweet older man. It's like somebody's grandpa. You just want to hug him. He'll hug you with both fists, all right.
Say. The knockout punch with Frazier, you know what it was? He hit him in the chest.
Yeah.
In the chest. Yes. And knocked him out. They literally said that his heart stopped for 30 seconds.
I think all the fans' hearts stopped, too, because they're like, wait, what just happened?
Yeah, he knocked him out, hit him in the chest.
I think it's safe to say maybe even before the fight with Ali, that Foreman was the kind of fighter that I don't know if I want to say you couldn't take him seriously, but it was always it always felt like some of these wins were come from behind or kind of underdog things to establish that dominance.
Right.
And it was always there. And at no point did he ever think, oh, I might lose this fight. Oh, I'm not so sure. Oh, this guy's giving me a run for my money. It was almost like he was saving the best for last. Of course, you see that now, whether you watch MMA or you watch boxing on TV these days. The big marquee matchups go late rounds before you start seeing the action.
Right.
George Foreman was the guy that kind of started that style of boxing to really, as an entertainment piece, draw in the fans, get them on the edge of their seat, and then literally deliver that knockout blow.
Yeah, and you're right. Knockout blow, because if you look at his record, he had a lot of knockouts. And that was something special to watch. I encourage anybody to go back and tube some of his, best ring moments, and you'd be surprised. And also his interviews.
Oh yeah,
Go to his
Great
interviews.
personality.
Go to the interviews. I promise you that, because when I was living in Texas, he was a regular figure there all over the state and stuff, and of course pushing the Foreman grills and stuff. But he was at all the different sporting events and such like that, and all for the right reason. He was there for the kids, doing a lot of stuff for the Boys and Girls Clubs, a lot of stuff for them, and raising a ton of money for them around not only the Houston area but all around Texas, and making events. And of course, he'd just show up, all kinds of stuff. And I'll tell you another thing, like him, Jerry was a big fan of him, so he had a lot of Dallas Cowboys stuff. This was back in the late '80s and early '90s. Before the Super Bowls, and he was still showing up as a Dallas fan, not a Houston Oilers fan, which he says he always was. Him and Bum Phillips were tight, as they said. But he will be missed, Mark. He will be missed.
Let's switch gears a little bit. What's your opinion on something? So Arkansas Razorbacks baseball, the second-ranked Hogs saw their 18-game midweek winning streak come to an end in kind of a heartbreaker loss. But I guess whenever you're number 2 in the nation, unless you're losing to number 1, isn't every loss a heartbreaking loss at that point? It's tough to be the guy at the top, or at least near the top. But a 14-13 shootout loss in 10 innings against regional rival Missouri State. The Hogs fell Tuesday night at Baum-Walker Stadium, which is rare to lose at home, by the way. Arkansas had a 13-8 lead entering the top of the ninth. They were unable to protect that lead. Missouri State bats around and scores 5 runs on 5 hits. They tie the game at 13. The game goes to extras, and the Bears are able to lead off the top of the 10th, go ahead 14-13. The Razorbacks unable to answer back, and they fall in a big loss there. Are you concerned with the loss to Missouri State, who after that loss moved to 11-12 on the season?
Most definitely, I'm more concerned about the pitching, which I think I've made a note of that early in the season already. Even before SEC play, we'd mentioned that before, Mark, and that's still a concern right now, especially with the game last night and today with Vandy and stuff. It's still a concern. The pitching, they're on track to hit more pitchers, especially the one pitcher. I'm not going to say names or anything because they're kids, so they're young men. But the pitching is a concern right now. There's no doubt about that, and which has been quite the opposite of earlier years, because their batting is phenomenal. The Hawaiian boys are just getting crazy.
Yes, they are.
And so if you look at their batting percentage and all the things that go with that, all the accolades that goes with that, they're well ahead of what they have been in the last 5 years, and their pitching is behind. They've got some good pitchers, though, is the problem. So, Mark, I'm going to point the finger back at you again. Is this the pitching coach? Is this why are they not prepared the way they should be right now? The way Arkansas pitchers have always been. You've got one up there still for your Chicago team. What
still can't say their name. That's crazy to me. They're literally undefeated, tied for first place in all of baseball.
I'm a Cubby fan.
Oh,
also.
Stop it! No, you're not.
We don't. Well,
you love the Yardbirds, the Orioles.
I've seen more games at Wrigley Field.
I'm sure you have. Here's the deal.
I like the Ivy.
Fun stat here. The Razorbacks used those 6 pitches. They struck out a total of 19 batters in that loss. 19 strikeouts. Missouri State still scored 14 runs.
2 errors, though.
It's crazy.
2 errors.
It's crazy. Now, what do I think about it? I think it's just baseball. You can be the best team in the league and still lose games. You've never sseen an MLB team go 162-0, and you're never going to. You never see a college team go undefeated in a season. Here's what Coach Dave Van Horn had to say. He says, hey, I like our team. I like the way that we play. We just got beat. Whoopee. Move on. That's a quote from Coach Dave Van Horn. I think he's right. You're going to lose games when you're number 2. Every game is going to feel like that game where you stormed the court. Oh my gosh, we took down one of the top dogs in all of the game. You're going to lose some games. And a lot of the time, based on your schedule, it's going to be unranked teams, or it's going to be teams that are ranked lower than you. Do I think it's going to drop Arkansas's ranking? Potentially. Maybe one spot. It's going to drop them much? I doubt it, because they're going to try to bounce back. Of course, you mentioned Vanderbilt. They're going to try to start a new streak this weekend. Of course, the series is already underway in SEC play. Number 14, Vanderbilt. hosting the number 2 Razorbacks. Should be some great baseball this weekend. I'm looking forward to it.
Mark, another consideration too, though. These are young men still in school. People have to realize that.
Sure.
Okay. This was a possibility. They're doing. It was test week also. Mm-hmm. So you're talking about some kids that are all. They're on the road a lot. These are young men that are still in school and happen to go to class.
Right. And basketball just played in San Francisco.
So you got to take that in consideration too. And I know the other ones too, but you take that all. Everybody's like, oh, well, you forget about that. This is a separate entity. They're baseball players, but they're students first. And people have to realize that. And just like you said, they're going to lose some games. There's no perfect. There's no perfect. I don't, but as it is, take that in consideration. Look, there's a lot of baseball left. I'm agreeing with Van Horn. There's a lot of baseball left. Hey, look, that's in the past.
The only games that matter are when Arkansas hosts a super regional, which we assume that will happen here, and they got to take care of business at Baum-Walker Stadium with their season on the line, not with this on the line here. That's our show this week. Thanks for tuning in to Sports and Shorts Tailgate Edition. We're here every Saturday morning at 10 a.m. He's Tracy Simpson. I'm Mark Oliver. Have a great week. We'll see you on Saturday.
Game over.